Welcome, Bravehearts, to the Doc of Detox show. I'm Dr. Daryl Wolf, and today our show is with Dr. Fong, Dr. Bruce Fong. And what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be talking about IGF-1, okay? All right? What is it? It's your cellular army. Most people don't even know what the IGF-1 is even about. I'm only going to start off with a little bit because he's the man, he's got the information, he's got the science, he's been doing it for years. And here's the deal. IGF-1 is made by the liver, but IGF-1 can't be made by the liver unless human growth hormone is made by the body to be delivered to the liver. Now, the amount of IGF-1 will be the amount of human growth hormone, and we all know that the human body, I think was manipulated, and I'm being very honest about this, was manipulated that the human growth hormone would run out or slow down greatly after you've had children. Because that, and I don't know, I think there's been a little bit of a science laboratory experiment here. And the reality is I didn't like it. No, I had a tantrum. I did not like the idea that my human growth hormone was down and was going to be depleted. As the years go by, I'm going to lose more. And as you lose more, you lose the IGF-1, and the IGF-1 gives you collagen, gives you immunity. It builds strong bones, okay? It gives you your youthfulness. It gives you that energy you used to have when you used to go out and party today, and then you partied all night, you got some sleep, and you're ready to go again. Understand something. If you don't follow me, if you do, you're going to understand that I'm not full of it. Well, maybe a little bit. But the reality is that I would not be able to pull off my passion, my purpose, my dreams, have the energy that I need to actually be able to go and do what I do. Just so you know, okay, because the whole Christmas season's coming, okay? Everybody's going to be all caught up. I'm trying to get out a lot of information to people to make them think about their body and their health, because guess what? As soon as Halloween comes, we shut down on that, don't we? Then comes Thanksgiving, then comes Christmas, then comes New Year's. We're obliterated. And then everybody's running around with a ding-dang mask on, okay, because they're scared of something that's not even alive that they created over the last 3 to 4 months by attacking themselves. Isn't that what autoimmune disease is? That, autoimmune disease means the body's attacking itself. But the reality is, before your body was attacking itself, you were attacking you on a subconscious, unconscious level, because we're all programmed by these psychos, okay, to make dumb ass decisions. And I do mean that. We're not dumb. People are not dumb, but they've been programmed and dumbed down to think that this only gets this good. It's only this good, or I can only be this good. I can only have that much energy. The day that you actually compare yourself to the majority or to any statistic that the medical system has, guess what? It's over for you already. Go ahead and do it, okay? Let me say, yes, Mr. Jones, you are doing really good for somebody that's 40 years old. I'm going to be 68 years old. I hope you're getting this and you're going, well, you look like you're 90, Dr. Wolf. Whatever. The reality is that, I feel young. I have energy, okay? I have created, in the last 2 years, I've created what most people haven't created in 20 years. And in my next 2 years, I will create what most people haven't created in 50 years. And because I am an infinite light energy, electrical magnetic being. I was created by God Almighty to create, and I'm going to act like it. So when it comes to nutraceuticals, otherwise they call them supplements. I won't deal in supplements, only nutraceuticals. High vibrational, high frequency. Whether you want to believe it or not, every supplement you take, every bit of food you take, every bit of drink you take, I don't care if it's water or you just juiced organic juices, it leaves the body. The only thing that stays behind is the frequency. And when you realize that you are a frequency, electrical, magnetic, light energy being, that is when you will harness the power of the source creator. And that's it right there. We're going to talk about IGF-1 today and how it helps in a way and brings in the frequency to create a protective army, okay, for your cells right down to the mitochondria. Dr. Fong?
Hello, Dr. Wolf. Thank you again for having me on the show. Wow, that's a lot of stuff we're looking at here, but it really, again, I can't agree with you more. I think that,
well, I just took my IGF-1, so what do you think I'm going to do? My brain is just going to go, whoom.
I mean, it's really, I love how you bring all the different things together. And being an integrative physician myself, I do the same things. And we look at not only the body, but the mind, the spirit, really the energy in somebody. We use homeopathics in our practice, and homeopathics are all about vibrational frequencies. And so truly, everything you said, I couldn't agree with more. So let's talk about the IGF-1.
Well, before we talk about the IGF-1, where are you from? Okay. Where's your practice? Okay.
So again, my name is Bruce Fong. I'm the medical director of the Sierra Integrative Medical Center. We're located here in Reno, Nevada. If you wanted to check us out, we're on the web on www.sierra, which is SIERRA, integrative, INTEGRATIVE, no spaces or dashes.com. And if you're old-fashioned like me and like phone numbers, it's 775-828-5388. Anyway, we've been around for quite a few years, and we're here to try to help any patient's needs by helping to figure out the underlying causes of your disease and trying to help resolve those issues instead of putting any kind of Band-Aid on it. So that's just us in a nutshell.
All right. Well, thank you. So IGF-1 and our cellular army.
So, putting all these pieces together, so I, like you, have absolute utter faith in God above. And I know that He designed us in a perfected model. Now we've come to corrupt that model, everything from the Great Flood to, us just polluting our environments. And reading the Bible, we read that this was going to happen. And unfortunately, we live in a pretty polluted world. We live in a world where we have infections, we have toxins and other things that affect us literally every second of our lives. So yes, God did give us a defensive mechanism. It's called the immune system. So the immune system has basically cells that run around your body. There's your army that protect you. And they do it in various ways. And obviously, this is not meant to be a lecture or a course on the immune system. However, we can talk about the immune system, some generalities I think most people will understand. One of the biggest things to understand in our daily battle is really, how does our body try to defend itself against this onslaught of literally bugs of any sort, viruses, bacteria, even fungi, and other sort of things that get in our bodies, as well as then not things that are not alive, even like toxins or radio frequencies, all these things that somehow will affect our body. Our body needs to actually fight against it. Our body needs to try to maintain a very specific balance for itself so that it can maintain the normal functions in your body. So again, constantly, and without our even knowing it, we're constantly fighting bugs that get in our bodies, viruses in particular, one of the quickest things to get in our bodies, even bacteria. We obviously fight the fungi in the form of molds and yeast and things like that. But so our immune system has the ability to adapt to each and every one of these things. Now, one of the problems is that as we start to adapt to things, other things that could potentially get settled in our bodies, the immune system, if it can't get rid of them altogether, sometimes it generates just a reaction to those given things, and it creates inflammation. Now, normally that's a good thing. That's how we start to kill and usually eventually get rid of something. However, something doesn't get fully removed, or the inflammation is due to, say, an injury or something like that, where the immune system is taking care of another aspect, that inflammation that gets built up becomes detrimental to us. Instead of being helpful to just get rid of something bad, it's a perpetual state that's being maintained by our own immune system to balance something out. They can maybe even keep something at bay it doesn't feel that they can immediately get
Right.
rid of.
Right.
So this is why we start getting joint pains. We start getting other aspects where we're not really ourselves. And again, inflammation can affect any part of your body. So here's the beautiful part. IGF-1, also known as insulin-like growth factor 1, somatostatin C, really the main motivator of human growth hormone, which is then, of course, produced by the liver in the presence of growth hormone. This is the key to absolutely helping us to maintain a better self. One of the things that IGF-1 does is it actually helps the immune system to modulate inflammation. So modulating inflammation means that we're actually trying to regulate the inflammation, keep it from getting so bad that it's damaging us. And again, if it keeps going and going, we can develop increasing levels of well, I'll use the term hyperimmunity, where we're kind of attacking and starting to damage ourselves. And then there's a certain point we cross the line where we actually make factors such as antibodies and other things that attack ourselves. And Daryl, you mentioned the term autoimmunity. Autoimmunity specifically means we are producing specific things in our immune system that attack ourselves. Well, that's usually because there's something there. Something is stuck there. I hate to say, as in medical school, it was like, hey, you're normal. Then all of a sudden, something happens to you, and then you're now in autoimmune. So, and then they teach us, well, okay, so when you get to autoimmune, here's steroids, here are these disease-modifying agents. I always used to raise my hand, and they hated me. But I used to raise my hand and say, what about the stuff that actually caused this in the first place? Isn't that a big step we're missing? Well, and they would say, hey, Fong, you know what? Don't worry about that. This is what we're teaching you. This is what you should know. Well, of course, I was a troublemaker and got in trouble a few times. But the whole point was I of course, went to explore more. And my practice, for instance, is built around exploring those underlying issues and trying to mitigate or actually really try to eliminate things, typically hidden infections. Like, for instance, we deal with Lyme disease, which is a really hard thing to take care of. Hidden toxins, such as mold toxins in the body is another big one we deal with. But getting back to the IGF-1 specifically, well, the IGF-1, by modulating that immune response, is going to reduce that inflammation. So you're saying, wait a minute, Dr. Font, didn't you think that was but isn't that trying to kill something or get rid of something? Yeah, but if it gets out of hand, guys, again, there's a balance. A certain amount of inflammation is really beneficial. It's going to kill things, and if it gets rid of it, that's the point of it. However, if something gets stuck in there and you're just firing at it, you're going to continue to inflame the surrounding areas, like I said, and increasingly make the inflammation worse. So the IGF-1 is great in many aspects. One, it does help the immune system to ramp that inflammation down. By ramping the inflammation down, the ability to detoxify the area, the ability to reset the cells, help the cells to repair, etc., is actually increased. Because when you're under inflammation, the cells switch modes, and if anything, they can't necessarily get out of that mode until that inflammation dies down a little bit. And so that's number one. But even more importantly, the IGF-1 will modulate the immunity, and there's studies that show that it increases the ability of certain cells in the immune system to recognize things better, to initiate the proper immune response in other instances, and even initiate something called complement, which is a means of getting rid of something. So without getting into a massive lecture on immunology, your body produces antibodies, for instance, against a given attacking a foreign body, for instance, and that antibody starts to attack it. We normally have something called, once these are interacting, we have something called complement, which is a sort of a tangential thing to the immune system, which creates another series of reactions which helps to eliminate that antigen-antibody complex. The IGF-1 helps to move that thing forward into that mode. So now,
Dr. Fong, I don't want to derail you, but I want to mention this again because there's some people saying things. Guys, just as the human growth hormone declines greatly after 30, so does the IGF-1. The IGF-1 that we actually produce, your body can't tell the difference between what it produced and what this is. It can't tell the difference. Even a blood test can't tell the difference between these. That's how pure it is. That's how natural it is. And that's why we get to keep that youthfulness, that longevity. And that's why you could give yourself a real good crap kicking with the things you do in your lifestyle, and you would bounce back so fast. So I demand a lot from my body. If anybody follows me on my shows, you know I demand a lot from my body, and I don't wear and tear. I'm not wearing and tearing it down because I hacked it. We can hack things, and those are the things that are being hid from us, Dr. Fong.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I can't agree more with you. As we age, of course, hitting our 30s, everybody talks about, hey, my metabolism's slowed down. Oh, hey, I can't do this as much as I could anymore. Well, that is corresponding to when we actually see a critical drop in the IGF-1 levels in the body, that people notice these things. Now, and again, guess what? All these things I just mentioned, this hyperimmunity, the autoimmunity, an inability to start to heal from things, starts about that same point. About our mid-30s, we start having an increased risk of those things. So again, as finishing my other point earlier, the IGF-1 helps to actually not only moderate the inflammation and help that to bring it down, but it actually helps the immune system remove, and then oversimplifying now, but to remove the offending agent that created the inflammation in the first place. So again, we're making God's mechanism work much more purely. We're enhancing that ability to do it.
Right.
And I really think that this is just an amazing thing for anybody. Not only vitality, knock down the things that knock our vitality down, that just bring us down gradually, sometimes much more rapidly. But usually these little things are like things that just scrape away at you until you don't feel good. You can't do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So I think that it's an incredible thing to be able to supplement that IGF-1, because again, just like Dr. Wolf was saying, about your mid-30s, you start having a critical drop in the IGF-1 to the point where you actually feel it. You don't feel as vital anymore. You start getting sick easier, and some people notice that. And the onset, I hate these terms, but the onset of the diseases of aging, I can't believe we call it that nowadays, but diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all these things starts around that time for most people. Some people earlier, but most people it starts around that time. And guess what? If it's related to the model that I just described, that your body just can't take care of those things that offend the body the way that I just described, and can't help to get rid of them faster and reduce that inflammation, any organ system, like I said, can be hit by this. And those things, in the case of high blood pressure, the vasculature.
Can I say something too, if that's okay? Just understand something. It's not your genetics. It's your epigenetics. Okay?
Right.
It's your epigenetics. It's what the programs you ran. Depending on how abusive you were, I said abusive. How abusive you were to yourself, okay, will depend on how fast this comes on and how hard it is for you to get back there, okay? And understand, if I can say this about an army, okay, a lot of people come to us after they've gone through the whole medical gambit, okay? So understand that. So we need energy to heal. We need energy to get out of bed, because if we don't have movement, okay, if you don't move it, you lose it. You do. Now, how are we going to get them out of bed? Well, there's nothing better than IGF-1 to create energy within a person's body, not a stimulant, not like caffeine, okay? It's not some kind of up and then you come down and crash. This, you come like this and you level and you stay there, and you don't even know that you're coming down, okay? If you were to do this 3 times a day, I do it like 4 or 5 times a day, the IGF-1, and my dosage a little higher than most because I do more than most. You know what? I know how to hack it. I know how to have this full life for the rest of my life. Dr. Fong?
I can't agree more. The IGF-1 that we're talking about here, coming from a deer antler velvet extract, is a complete matrix of growth factors.
Complete matrix.
Yes, it's everything there. So again, people ask us a lot of times, oh man, isn't it bad to increase these growth factors? Can't you actually make a harmful decision here, like increasing your risk for cancer? Well, this is the beautiful part about it. This is an all-natural product that comes right from a deer antler. God made this. We just processed it, brought it out, and put it in a compound that you can absorb easily in your body. We'll talk about that later. But this whole matrix includes growth factors that prevent you from creating abnormal cells.
And if I can say this before we go any further, I want everyone to get this. Now go get a synthetic IGF-1, not one like this that's natural, and guess what? That will mess up, and that can stimulate cancer. Dr. Fong?
Yeah, so again, anything that we take out of this natural balance, it actually is, there's too much of one thing, too much versus the too little of another. That throws us out of balance. And of course, taking only one factor out of an entire growth matrix is, it's like taking one piece of the puzzle. You can't get the whole picture. So the body will get confused. The body may have ill effects to it. But again, the IGF-1 we're talking about here is literally an entire growth matrix of IGF-1, IGF-2, factors to help grow bone, factors that help grow vascular tissue, collagen, to name just a few, but even things like morphogenic growth factors that prevent the formation of abnormal cells. So again, these are really the important things to understand, is that God created a system that's balanced. We are just simply taking that system out of one place and applying it to a means of being able to get it into our bodies.
We're creating alignment. We're creating alignment. We're creating harmony. We're replacing what was taken from you. And the other thing is, somebody says here, I spend a lot of money on human growth hormone. Are you telling me that I can get the same effects or even better with your IGF-1 300,000? Now, we'll talk about the 25,000 to 300,000 later, everyone, but he's asking about the IGF-1 300,000.
So, the IGF-1 300,000 is the maximum dose that's made, and it has the maximal amount of the growth factors that we can get into a specific product. Now, again, always consult with your physician properly, but people who have human growth hormone deficiencies, they can definitely benefit from the use of the IGF-1. Again, individual cases where there may be another reason why you need the human growth hormone, you want to be a little careful about that and make sure that your doctor is included in this decision-making process. But again, the IGF-1 300,000, which is the maximum dose we have, can have very significant benefits. I've actually used it on patients with ALS that have helped improve their quality of life and slow down that disease process. In the case of somebody else who's just simply using it for growth hormone deficiency, there is a chance that you can definitely make up for a lot of what's going on, because remember, the growth hormone is going in the body, just like Dr. Wolf said, it's producing specific amounts of these various growth factors, and this entire growth matrix represents pretty much what we make in our bodies. Based on, again, your individual case, sometimes you have such a low amount of it that you're actually wasting away or whatnot. Again, that's a decision also that you need to make with your physician if there's a specific reason you're taking it, and not just having a little mild deficiency. A mild deficiency, I think we can help. If you have a major issue with the growth hormone, then again, that's something that you need to regard with your physician as well.
Beautiful.
So getting back into this whole thing, again, we've talked about the immune system, talked about how we can reduce inflammation, push and focus that immune system to knock out the things that create the problems for us in the first place. Of course, by reducing all of those inflammatory changes in the body, your body can start to heal. Gee, what does IGF-1 do? It helps to restore the fullness of any tissue in your body, and again, helping to rebuild, for instance, muscles. The most obvious thing. We actually start to when we start to work out, we're able to put on muscle better. We're able to maintain and that muscular tone better. We burn fat better. In the various organs, we help to cycle out bad things. We help to rebuild those various tissues, bone, skin, blood vessels, even nerves to a certain degree. These are all things that the IGF-1 can do, since it's a growth factor. So it's got so many different things that that can happen here, even beyond that immune function, that help to restore you after an inflammatory episode, or to help you to deal if you were to have a chronic thing. It helps you to maintain your body, get that balance back in there, to minimize the effect if there's something that's in there that might not be able to be easily removed. So again, there's nothing but a win-win here. Even from the standpoint of hormones, the IGF-1 helps to regulate that through the pituitary gland and the various master control hormones there. So again, it is the best regulator, the best balancer of your entire body to make you the best that you can be in the most natural way possible.
Can I answer this? People are asking if you can get it from the health food store. No, you can't. You can get it from store.docofdetox.com, or you can just go to my website at docofdetox.com, DOCOFDETOX. And yes, somebody else is asking. Yep, the Black Friday sale's on now, so it'll be on sale until next Friday, okay? Go ahead, sir.
So again, I can't tell you that not only, God, I want to sound cliche, so some guy that's out there says, hey, I'm not only a hair club for men spokesman, I'm actually a client. I can tell you that just like Dr. Wolf, I've been using the IGF-1 products for the better part of a decade and a half, and to say that it's probably saved my life on more than one occasion would be an understatement. I've gone through all kinds of different things in my life that probably could have maybe not be here right now. And the IGF-1 helped me to deal with those stressors and helped me to heal from various things that have happened to me. If I hadn't had that on board, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at now. So again, I really, from my own bottom of my heart, I encourage everyone to explore this, everyone to try this. And honestly, again, it's really a compound that comes straight from nature. It comes from what God Himself created, and I'll touch on that in just a second. But it is so balanced. It is the perfect thing to help you to maintain yourself to the best you can be, and not take you beyond it. Just like Dr. Wolf said, it's not a steroid. It's not something that's going to make you like this. It is something that makes you take yourself. We say the body, but we're also talking about the vibrational part that Dr. Wolf talked about. And it puts you at a better place. It puts you at a balanced state to allow you to live life to its fullest. So give me a minute here, if I can, Dr. Wolf, to talk about how this product's derived. So again, people understand the very nature of these things. So just like I said earlier, this is a deer antler velvet. Everybody's going, what's a deer antler velvet? So most of you out there may already know that deer, every year they lose their antlers, and in the springtime, in about 110 days, they actually grow a whole new rack of antlers. If we're to harvest those antlers at halfway through the growth cycle, and so I'm going to stop myself there because I know some of you are concerned about the deer. The deer that are used in this particular scenario are deer that are in New Zealand. They're free-range deer. They're organic. There's nothing artificial that's fed to them, and they're simply tranquilized, I believe, through their food that's offered to them at that point. They fall asleep, and then surgically the antlers are removed, leaving the very nubs that allow new antlers to grow the following year.
And they have no pain. They suffer no pain at all. So I need everyone to understand this, okay?
So I'm not an anesthesiologist, but I do know that they are tranquilized and anesthetized from this surgical process. And again, so getting beyond that, the deer fully recover. They go and frolic. I think the worst thing that ever happens to them is maybe two male deer may forget they don't have antlers and try to butt heads and then realize they have a headache and they don't do it again. But anyway, the bottom line is that the whole process is sustainable. We don't want and nobody wants to ever hurt the deer, because they are giving us something that's going to make so much of a difference in our lives.
It changes people's lives. It gets people, listen, we get calls all the time. I don't know if you do, but I do, where people go, look at my husband, he's on his way to hospice, or is there anything we can do? Understand something. We have a protocol for people that people have given up on. And I'm not going to tell you what our stats are, because this can't sound like a marketing show, and I won't do it. And we don't do it to market. We do it to give them a quality of life. If you knew how many people leave hospice because everything is frequency and everything is energy. When you have no frequency, you have no energy left, things deteriorate really quick. You can bring a frequency and energy through energy medicine products and energy medicine devices. And as Einstein stated, energy medicine will be the way of the future. And we're there right now.
Absolutely agree. I mean, I gotta tell you, the higher vibration you get, again, this is literally what God created, and we've known has been helpful for human beings for over 3,000 years. The ancient Chinese used deer antler. They didn't process it the way we do, which I'll describe in a second, but they took deer antler, and they and I can remember as a kid going to the herbal shops with my grandparents. Hey, you didn't want to go to school? Grab your hand, and you're going like this. They drag you down to the herbal shop. And as little kids, we didn't like it in there because it smelled really bad. But the bottom line is, the herbalist would ask you, hey, what's wrong with you? Or in this case, what's wrong with your grandkid? And they tell him, and then he'd grab all the different things to address, say, the runny nose, the congestion, the fevers, etc. But always, he'd go to that freeze-dried case with the deer antler in it, take the end of the deer antler, scrape it off too. And this is the old mortar and pestle. They get in there, they grind it all up, they make this powder, and they'd say, hey, make a tea for your kid or your grandkid. Now, my grandparents are smart. They put like little honey or something and make it palatable, because if they didn't, the stuff was horribly bitter. So what I can tell you now is that the Chinese knew that the deer antler was a constitutional remedy. It was something that basically helped you to recover, helped you to repair all the tissues that got damaged by your illness. So let's fast forward to what we do now. Instead of taking a freeze-dried deer antler, we take the inside of the recently harvested antler. We literally suction out the stuff that's inside. What's inside is a dark brown, gelatinous, mushy, liquid-like compound. And if you let it dry and dry completely, it becomes a sticky, shiny thing that we would more often call a velvet. So in this case, we suction all that out, and again, completely organic, just cold press it, just like you do olive oil. And then what comes out is this cloudy brown liquid, which then is mixed with a liposomal delivery system, which is one of the key factors in being able to apply enough of these growth factors to your body. Now, it's interesting. We talked about numbers earlier, everything from 10,000 all the way up to 300,000 nanograms. But that's the entire amount that's in the bottle. And in case you don't know what a nanogram is, it's 1/1,000,000th of a milligram. Very tiny amount. So you don't need a lot of this stuff in your system, but you got to get it in your system. If you take this stuff orally, like I've seen people do IGF pills, I've seen people do other liquids, but they're swallowing them. They don't have this liposomal delivery system.
It won't work. They don't work.
They don't work because the liposomal or fat delivery system helps to deliver it, guess what? Under the tongue. So everybody knows somebody has chest pain. You've probably been around somebody or heard about this. They take nitroglycerin. They don't swallow nitroglycerin. They put it under their tongue because the nitroglycerin will dissolve and absorb into the capillary beds, which is a big, rich capillary bed under your tongue. It goes right into your bloodstream to give it the ability to immediately have effect on your body. You take it in your stomach, the acid in your stomach and the enzymes in the first part of the small intestine will destroy almost all the growth factors. You're wasting your time. By having this unique delivery system, the IGF-1 products we're talking about here are delivered directly to the bloodstream.
Can I say something, Dr. Fong?
Do I have time to talk about a quick study that I did in
the
office?
I just want to make sure we're really clear. Whether you do the 25,000 which is good for younger people and people that don't have a demanding lifestyle. Okay, when you spray that in your mouth, you're spraying it under your tongue as well. Okay, when I take the IGF, I'm just going to show you, this will get a little bit wasted, but when I take it, I put it under my tongue, and guess what? I will hold it there until the volume of IGF I put in is 4 to 6 times greater due to the saliva mixing it, and it's to the point that it feels just like water now. You have just taken it and you've got it all now. You don't put it in and rush. So don't take it and rush and then go to speak or to go to eat, or okay, you take it, and this deserves respect. And if you do that, you are going to feel so good. You have no idea. I am not kidding. This is like one of the most beautiful of nature's regenerating energetic formulas. Dr. Fong? He's frozen. Hopefully he comes back. His if it doesn't, his phone is frozen. We'll either say hello in a minute or not. I might even have to call him back. But yeah, so you know what? I'm going to tell you, there's days when I just do the regular dose of 3 times a day. And there's some times where I'll actually do 1.5 doses. There's times when I've done this 5 times a day. There is no toxic side effects. While we're waiting for him, I don't know what I'll do. I'll try to get him back on Zoom again. Maybe that's the key. Oh yeah, I've definitely lost him. But the reality is guys, I want to tell you something. And you can take this to the bank. Why don't you go look up IGF-1 and then look up IGF-1 in professional sports. Here he is. And I'm just going to finish a thought, sir. If you look up...
Sorry, I think our internet at the office just went out. So let me finish this.
No, but can I finish the story I was doing while you were gone?
Oh, yeah, please.
I was just saying that the IGF-1 that we're using here, a big pharma tried to ban it along with all of these sports for professionals. Yeah, understand, it's not a drug. If they tested them, they wouldn't know if they took it or not, because our product's exactly the same as the liver makes. I hope you get this. And the reality is, big pharma, they want to sell their drugs, but meanwhile, you're not supposed to take drugs. The whole thing's all screwed up. And understand, you would not believe me if I told you how many, professional sports people live on this. And that's the God's truth. But they can't talk about it anymore. Years ago, they could get on and they could talk about it and they would share it. Now, they got to hide it like everything else, You can't be your best and be natural. No, unless a corporation gets a piece of you, they're going to try to make something look bad. Dr. Fong, you want to pick up on your story?
Yeah, actually, really just to finish your story.
Yeah.
A few years ago, working with another group, we were fighting Major League Baseball, the NFL, about banning these substances. And we said the exact same things you did. It's natural, it's in the body. And guess what, guys? And this might have incensed them more than helped. You can't really tell the difference when somebody takes it. This segues into what I was trying to say earlier. I did a personal study on this where I used, at that point, it was 100,000 nanogram strength. It was a drops under the tongue, like you were demonstrating, Daryl. And what we did blood tests. We actually put a little catheter in people, and we pulled blood out. So we did it as a baseline before we gave them anything. Then we gave this a regular dose of 100,000 under the tongue. We had it hold it there for 30 to 60 seconds, which is the recommended time. And then basically we at about I think 3 to 5 minutes after the application of the product, we did another blood test, and then we repeated again at 15 and 30 minutes, I believe. And what we showed was astounding. We showed anywhere from a 40 to 50, possibly 60% increase in the level of IGF-1 in the first 5 minutes. But interesting enough, by 15 minutes, it had already gone down by half of that typically, and by 30 minutes, you were back to your baseline. So what does that mean? It means that this growth factors are really, really powerful. If they go to work immediately, just like Dr. Wolf said, you could actually feel almost instantaneously better. And they're used up by the body, because your body, especially if you're deficient in any of these, is starving for these growth factors. It uses them up right away. Since they're going right into the bloodstream, they're going everywhere. And it's going to be, and it's not going to just sit around the blood and be useless. So again, when we told the NFL in particular this, that, you know, a player could use it, you could drug test them or look for this stuff. Well, unless you're going to say the player never had IGF-1 in their body, you're going to find a level, and unless you do something like me where you have a baseline and you know when they took it, then you did a blood test, which obviously you're not going to, you're never going to find it. And so I don't know if I hurt us or helped us with that, but the bottom line is this is a natural product. I can't emphasize that more. It's not going to make you go beyond what your body genetically is capable of doing. It's not going to turn you into the Incredible Hulk. It's not going to make you some super soldier, but it will take you to the best that you can be.
Well, but Dr. Fong,
and the bottom line is that it's safe.
And everybody, you need to get this. It is going to make you feel like a superhero, because I'm going to tell you why. Not because it's going to give you more than you were given and granted by our Creator. It's because you had part of you stolen. All it does is bring you back into alignment and harmony. And understand this. And I don't know if you've done studies on this or you've worked with this, but I've got people with anxiety. They love this product, brings them right back. I've got people that are depressed. It brings them up. People with chronic fatigue. People with fibromyalgia. I've got a gentleman here, he says, I'm 65 and active. How much do I need? Well, just 14 drops 3 times a day is the dosage. But understand something. This is what I do. I squeeze it for a second. I'm not expecting people to do what I do. This is just for Daryl. I take that twice. That's what I take twice. And I got to tell you, when I'm done my day, understand something. I started this morning, can curcumin and turmeric help you in a stroke? I'll answer that when Dr. Fong goes off. I promise I'll get into that. When I'm done my day, remember something. I'm going and exercising. I'm going swimming. I'm going to have an active time. I don't go to bed until usually 11 o'clock at night. Whether you believe this or not, here's my routine, Dr. Fong. And people might think it's crazy. But when I get up to go pee, because I don't go, oh, I got to go pee, because there's always going to be urine in your bladder. When I go up to go pee around 1:30 or 2:30 in the morning, I stay up. First, I do my prayers, my meditation, and then I do an hour of exercise, and then I go back to bed, and I just feel like, That's my routine. My routine is only something that I do, and I'm so used to. But understand, and then I'll go all day. And the reality is this is for people that really believe in self-care and self-love, and the ones that go, I can't afford it. I can't afford to do this. I can't afford to do that. Those people have poverty consciousness, and you can get even teed off at me. But guess what? Our belief systems create our health and our wealth, and you can take it or leave it. I've been a whole life coach, emotional trainer, psychological training and teaching for 30 years. And understand, I see it. We can reprogram people and their whole life changes on a health or wealth basis. So the reality is this: if you don't have energy and you're depressed, your life is never going to change. And that's the bottom line. And most people are depressed, and there is no such thing as depression. All the anxiety that's on in the world, and they listen to all this BS stories, they burn their brain out, and the brain has to shut down, and we call that depression. And there is no such thing. And all you had to do was just go and chill out and stop telling the same terrifying, horrible story to yourself over and over again. Let me tell you something. Do you know how long I deal with trauma drama? 3, 2, 1, I got this. And it's over. And I go back to focusing on my life. If you expect me to suffer for my family or suffer for the world, it's never happening. If you want someone to come and take massive personal action to help you with your life, I'm the guy. So everything is about focus. Everything is about perception. And understand, just right there, you're going to have tons of energy. But the reality is this. I haven't met a person yet, and I'm going to tell you this. I can't afford it. I'll go into that person's cupboard. I'll go into their fridge. I will follow them around, and we will find hundreds and thousands of dollars of wastage and addiction. Addiction to foods, addiction to sugar, addiction to alcohol, addiction to CBD, addiction. And you know what? Even the poorest person, they're going to remain poor because they have a poor strategy in their life. And that's it. But understand something. You kick in products like this, like a lady just said to there, oh, I just think this is all wrong. Well, you know what? You can think this is all wrong. And the reality is guess what? You think this is wrong? We don't hurt people, hurt anything. We help people. And understand, I'll tell you what's wrong. What's wrong is in here. What's wrong is in here. And we can't change that until you want to take massive personal action and learn that your personality is not yours, until you have unconditional love for yourself and you know how to look after yourself and care for yourself and become your own practitioner and your own lover, and you're not out trying to suck off everybody like a large nipple because you have no respect for yourself or don't know how to love and care for yourself, or you wouldn't put any time or money into yourself anyway. I'm not ranting here. I'm trying to tell you the majority of the population is programmed not to care for themselves. And whether they care for themselves or not, or believe that they're worth it, that's something that we can't even come up against. Dr. Fong will tell you, he'll tell you that. So will any other person that's been in health for 10 years, that a person's personality becomes their reality, becomes their disease, and becomes their death sentence, or becomes their life-saving moment every moment if they can own it. That's it.
So, Daryl, as a devout Christian, I'm going to throw this out there. My goal is that I love my Lord Jesus Christ. My job is to help other people see the light and come and repent and redeem and be right with Him. It says in Romans, we all have gifts that God gives us for the ministry. Some of us can teach, some of us can preach, some of us can heal. And if we're there to do any of these tasks that God gives us, God provides us for the tools to do it. One of the things that you and I both do is utilize these products to make us the best that we can be, especially right up in here, to help educate our patients, to help bring them to a better place, no matter what aspect our patients ask us to help them with. So again, I personally tell you, Daryl, God bless you for all that you do. And thank you for being strong and never wavering in your convictions. And again, I would offer the same thing to anybody else out there. Again, we're not like your everyday doctors. We are, although I'm traditionally trained, I've done a residency in internal medicine. I do practice integrative medicine. Again, being an osteopathic physician, I think I had a little advantage because of the philosophy as opposed to a traditional allopathic physician. But we're here to offer ourselves to you guys with all of the knowledge that we have, from not just one aspect, but from every aspect that we can give to you to help try to figure out what's wrong with you and try to help you to get to the best that you can be by eliminating the bad things and to really upregulate or maximize all the good things in you so you can live life to your fullest.
Absolutely. I couldn't said it better, sir. Thank you. What would you like to leave everybody with today?
Pretty much that's what I just said, but I would encourage everybody to, give these products, some attention. Research them. Try them out in particular. I can't encourage you more to try them out. And again, you'll see the difference in your life, and really, as Dr. Wolf and I have already, and you will find yourselves being able to do more. And think about it this way. If you're thinking that somebody might think it's wrong or it's selfish, I don't think it's wrong or selfish at all. In my own personal beliefs, God put us here for a reason. And if we can be given something that helps us to be stronger for that purpose, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. In fact, I think that's what the divine intention would be.
Bless you, my friend. Thank you for all of your beautiful knowledge and also where you're coming from in your heart. Okay? Thank you.
Amen.
Everybody, that is Dr. Bruce Fong, and he has his own practice, and he's been doing this for a long time. And as you can tell, he's a man and a doctor with a beautiful heart, and that's what you need today, okay? Because you need to have patience. We have to have patience for our patients, but you need to have more patience for yourself. Think about the things that you want in your life. If you could connect to your breath, put your hand on your heart. Inside your heart, there's a God spot. And that is where we get that patience from. And you really need to be patient with yourself. When you're trying to learn something or do something new, okay, you got to love you and just sit in that, okay? Don't call yourself down because you'll distract yourself. Listen, they try to program us out there, okay, to tell us, okay, that there is no hope, there is no faith. I'm not a big believer of hope. I hope I get well. No, you need to have faith, and to have faith, you have to have the knowledge of knowing, okay, that there is a greater power than you, but it's teamwork that makes the dream work, where you need to take massive personal action and work with that which is invisible, which is the greater source of everything, and you'll find your way. But hold a slight smile on your face no matter what goes on in your day. Connect to your lion heart breathing. 6 seconds in, 7 seconds out. Put your shoulders back and let's try something. Let's try to see if we can hold a slight smile, where last time when this happened, we lost it. Last time when this happened, okay, we yelled at someone. We got angry, and then we were left trying to clean up a mess, to clean up the relationship either with ourselves or someone else. As far as the IGF, check it out if you'd like. It's on my website at store.docofdetox.com. That's DOCOFDETOX. You're also going to find on there that we have IGF-1, and it's a guide in my library. And all of the shows that Dr. Fong has done for me and is going to do for me are all going to go in there, and they're all going to be titled so that you can get the information and the questions and the science. And listen, if you wanted to rewatch this tomorrow, it'll also be up in my Telegram channel, Doc of Detox on Telegram. You'll find all my shows, all my memes, everything I do will be there. So if you can't find it on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or other places. And yes, somebody's asking again, the Black Friday sale will be on until a week from this Friday. And I'm going to answer a question. So if any questions, health questions come in, I will answer them. First thing, somebody said here, can curcumin and turmeric help if you have a stroke? First of all, let me say this. Most of you don't realize this, but you don't have a stroke because of plaque, okay? You have a stroke because what happens is, and try to wrap your head around this, they don't talk about this, but a stroke is actually caused because of a blood clot. And the reality is in the arteries, what happens here? When we become very acidic in our lifestyle, our diet, mainly emotionally acidic because we're dumping adrenaline, cortisol, and histamines all the time because, oh my God, I gotta be on guard. If I gotta do this, I gotta pay the bills, I gotta go to work, if you're gonna live like that, I don't know how you live at all. But when you're dumping adrenaline and cortisol and histamines into your body, but here's the deal. Here's what's happening too. If you are eating an acidic diet, you're eating up the minerals within the blood, taking up the oxygen within the blood, and the body will make more. Well, what the body will do is make cholesterol, because you're actually causing cracks in your arteries. Did you know that? You're causing cracks. They're like little cracks in the arteries. This is real science. Those little cracks, okay, they want to be gooped up with cholesterol, and that's why the body makes so much cholesterol. We need cholesterol. It's an important hormone, but it'll make more than you need when we've got to repair the cracks. It's a crack repair, okay? And what happens is what else happens? Well, when you're really acidic, if your blood pH just dropped a little bit, you'd go into a coma or you would die. Which one do you want, coma or die? No, none of them, thank you. So what happens is you're gonna pull calcium out of the walls of the arteries, and you're gonna pull it out of your bones. It's gonna be dumped into your arteries. If you ever heard of hypercalcemia, that in the blood, that means that somebody's in big trouble. Okay, now the body's just trying to pull all that calcium in there to try to keep that person alive, and that can happen in cases of cancer. Now what happens is that little piece of calcium, okay, what happens if it gets into that little crack in the artery? Well, it actually will cut it because it's like coral or glass. It actually cuts it, and then a little droplet, okay, of blood creates what? A blood clot. And that is where strokes come from. And anybody that has a stroke, I know it's a little longer answer, but anybody who has a stroke, you do not put them on cooked food. You do not put them on processed food. You put them on a whole plant-based diet, or you put them on a juicing diet of vegetables like carrots and beets and greens, and you dilute that, and then you hydrate them, and you keep their nourishment up really high. Now, there's different levels. Or you put them on an advanced water fast using IGF-1. We use 6 different products main products on an advanced water fast, because advanced water fast will kick the living crap out of most people. Headaches, they can't even get through it. They don't even make it through the first day. You do IGF-1, you do Beyond Ormus Minerals, you do calcium ion therapy. There are 3 other products. I don't want to sound like a marketer here. So we use 6 different products, and we can have a person never did a fast before, and they'll glide through it. They'll make more stem cells. They'll create more autophagy, and they'll actually have the energy to get through it. Okay. So you could put a person who just had a stroke on an advanced water fast with these really great nutraceuticals, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to heal them that fast. You go ahead and put food in their tummy, especially processed food, not combined properly, and then they don't chew their food well, and we already know that their body's already fighting. They don't have a lot of energy, and the body's trying to heal, so you're going to steal the energy from that place. They're going to end up building up scar tissue in the brain and more calcification in the brain, and then the healing's not going to happen very well. There's a way to actually do this. Now, I'll get back to your question. You don't want to put people on turmeric. Curcumin, if it's a good one, is 20 times more concentrated. Okay, there is 95%. Let me see. In turmeric, you've got 5% curcuminoids. In curcumin, which is a concentrate, it's 95% curcuminoids. We will add a little bit of cayenne, 6% African cayenne, and that will actually make it 5,000% stronger. Now, put people on it. Now, if somebody had a stroke, understand this is what I would do if I had a stroke. I will tell people what I would do, and then you do whatever you want. Everybody plays Inky Dinky Schnitzel House. Almost every health practitioner doesn't go deep enough. You got a front end load for the first 6 weeks to 3 months with any chronic condition. I'm telling you, you cannot just play dibble dabble. That's why, you know what? There's 100 times more natural health practitioners out there, but nobody's getting well. Everybody's in hell. And the reality is because they're not like me or other practitioners. When they come to me, you know what? They'll get a consultation from me or one of my practitioners. They get lifetime support. They get my 400-page manual, but they get lifetime support. They can call us as often as they want for free. And I mean it, because health is a language, and these people need support. You know what? Most practitioners don't give support, and I give a money-back guarantee on all my courses, all my trainings, all my consultations, and all my body work. You can take that to the bank. Because guess what? If your work's so good, you should be able to back it with a money-back guarantee, which most people don't. And what most practitioners don't understand is their therapies can either be twisted or diluted down, and all they're doing is buffering down the pain for someone, but they're not teaching people how to master their pain, because they don't understand the pain's a GPS, and the more pain you have, the more out of alignment, more out of harmony you are. Now, the curcumin cayenne, if somebody came to me and they had a stroke, guess what? They're going to take minimum 2 every hour. 2 every hour while they're awake. And then guess what? Let's say you get a little bit of heartburn. or acid problem. Do you know why you get that? Not because of the cayenne. It's only 6%. Because the curcumin cayenne goes in and it takes the acid out of the tissues. And then you've got to eliminate it. Well, what if somebody was really exhausted or they were constipated and they couldn't eliminate the acidity that's coming out of the tissues and out of the body fast enough? Well, it could back up to give you heartburn. So then guess what? Well, then what we do is we give them baking soda and we just buffer that acid down, and then they're fine. The reality is this: you got to buffer the acid down. But we also, if somebody had a stroke, you may not believe me, but you know, if they're open to it, we'll tell people what we would do in that situation. And the reality is this: you don't give them anything that takes any energy to digest, because there is no energy to be wasted. The next thing is that we will actually get them on a protocol that their bowels are moving 3 to 4 times a day like a cow plop, because we know they're backed up. We know they're backed up. Most people say, I don't have a bowel problem, but guess what? 99% of the population has parasites, which we know that they're rotting out. You've got your own private manure pile. Halitosis is caused because of hot air rising from this manure pile. And understand something. You had lots of symptoms before you ever had a stroke. And so when people come to us, we have a strategy from the moment they rise until they close their eyes. So we're going to be doing things that are already pre-digestible. We're going to get them on structured water, get them to buy a structure unit. That water hydrates 1,000% better than any other known water. Oh, it's better than Kangen. It's better than Berkey. It's better. Distilled water is not even water. And reverse osmosis is not even water. But if you run your water through a structure unit, you bring the life back. It's 1,000% more hydratable. So here's some tips for you. If you had somebody who had a stroke, you can call me up. We'll talk for a few minutes. I'd want to know some specifics. What is their weight? What is their height? What is their age? Okay, what do they eat and drink on a bad day? What are you doing right now for them? And stop feeding people, oh my God, I made you this great meatloaf because I feel so bad for you. Yeah, well, guess what? Yeah, meatloaf my butt, will you? You just kicked them over the cliff. And most practitioners don't understand that. What's the deal here? Whether someone's sick or not sick, to bring in high vibrational drink and food and belief systems. That's the deal. And if you don't want to change your personality, you can use massive personal action and you'll get exhausted because willpower runs out. When you understand that this body was created by God Almighty, and when you've got the right strategies, it will heal from any disease. Disease means you're not at ease, you're out of alignment. Okay? And now the other thing I would be doing, I would also be clapping. I would also be doing an ultimate coffee enema on this stroke patient if we can move them around or help them get an ultimate coffee enema to get the bowels moving and to start purging out the liver. Most people have strokes. They're like 50 years old. And understand something, you'll go change the oil in the filter in your car, 4 times a year minimum. When's the last time you changed the oil and the filter, which would be your liver that does 300 jobs, and it's got all that chemical poisoning in it? And then doing an ultimate coffee enema, we used humic fulvic to suck up all the acid and chemicals when it comes into the large intestine, because anybody that had a stroke has autoimmune disease, which means that their large intestine's like a screen door. So when we're dumping the poisons into the large intestine to dump it into the toilet, we don't want to reabsorb it back into our system, do we? This is real health. This is real science. And you want a strategy. Let me tell you something right now. There's a main group out there, and you know who they are. They've strategized against us for thousands of years. And understand something. Wouldn't it be great if we just strategized and created the perfect day for ourselves? From the moment we rise until we close our eyes, you're going to think that I'm crazy, but guess what? $150 for a perfect day consult with one of my master consultants, and they're good. You know what? We'll give you a money back guarantee on it. How's that? And you don't have to call me. You can call up and say, I don't like your perfect day. People don't do that, though. You get a 400-page manual. You get lifetime support on an 800 number. Okay? You get an audio sent to you on the consultation. You don't get disrespected. You get respected. If you call me 5 times a day, or my practitioners, we're going to keep on answering you with all the love in our heart. And that's what it's meant to be. So you have to understand something. We're all programmed to disrespect ourselves and each other to the point where we're not family anymore. I don't like the color of your skin. I don't like your religion. I don't like the way you smell. This is what they do. That's not true. I don't care if someone hates me or loves me. I love them anyway. And that's how we set this planet free. Have a beautiful day, and God bless everybody.